Welcome back to the Game On virtual event. I hope you guys enjoyed the last session. Again, this is Daniel Egan, and in this session, we're going to be talking about the Windows 8 features. And I really hope that you're not looking forward to more PowerPoints, because for this session, this is it, just the title slide. In this session, we're going to be looking at the Windows 8 features in two ways. First, why they're important. What's cool about the Windows 8 features, and why do I want to implement them in my game? And then we're going to show you how to implement them in your game. So let's go ahead and switch over to the desktop, and we'll start with the live tiles. Now, there's two categories that these features fall into. One is you must implement, and the other one is you should implement. Now, live tiles is something that you should implement. Now, every application, every game has a tile per se, and if we look at the tiles on my start screen here, you'll notice a couple things. So we're going to pop into these in a second, but these two over here are, I think, of importance. You'll notice a difference right away, and that is the Kindle app is just a tile, where the Audible app is a live tile. So what's the difference? First of all, if you're looking at the screen right now, you cannot help but look at the ones that flip. You can see obviously on the left, and we'll talk about those, the game ones that are flipping too, but this is your way as a developer, as a game developer, to draw the eye. Right now we're looking at the prime real estate for my start screen, which is all the way on the left-hand side. These are the things that are important to me, and these are the things that I want to see. So if you're going to be over here, I want you to show me something that's important to me. I want you to show me something that's a glance and go. I can get on with stuff. And I also want you to remind me why I like your app, why I like your game. So make sure you don't just have a tile in your app, but make sure you have a live tile. So since this is a game event, let's concentrate on the game tiles that you see on the left-hand side. Now, you can see the top one for Jetpack Joyride is giving me information of what the next types of things I can do. Collect 5 vehicles. I can get extra points. You can see that it's telling me it's Jetpack Joyride. So you can see it's flipping through different ones. This is important. If you just keep showing the same static thing, people start to not pay as much attention. But if you show them different things, like down below you can see my rank, the stars I have, the coins I have, the points I have, whatever the game is, find out what's important to the users. Are achievements important? Is the game score important? Whatever it is, make sure you show that to them to drive them into your game. Whether you're selling your game or you have advertising your game, you always want to drive them into your game so they play more. If they play more, they'll tell more people about it. If they tell more people about it, more people will play it. It's common sense to be able to do that. So make sure you implement a live tile in your game. The next thing we're going to look at is the charms bar. And to get to the charms bar, you go all the way to the right-hand side. You can either swipe on the right to bring it up, or you can take your cursor and put it in the bottom corner. And the charms bar is global throughout the entire system. So whether you're on the start screen or you're in an app or a game, the charms bar will be there. So you'll want to implement this, and in some cases have to implement this in your game to pass certification. So you can see there's 4 different charms here and the start button. The search charm, the share charm, the devices charm, and the settings charm. We're going to look specifically at the settings charm and the share charm. And to do that, we're going to pop into a game. We'll just go into Jetpack Joyride. And while we're in here, I'll go ahead and go to the charms bar, and I'll go ahead and click on share. Now, if we look at this game and click on share, you'll notice that I can share it through mail. Now this list will be different depending on what applications you have on your system. So if you have applications that have implemented share, like mail, social media ones like a Facebook or a Twitter client or things like that are other applications that can and most likely will have a share on it. Now, why is this important to you? You want your app, your game to go viral. Meaning, if someone loves it, you want them to be able to share it. And they can do that through the charms bar, through the share charm. Now, this one just says mail that implements it. And the way they've implemented it is they've added just a text message. So I can email someone that's in my list and I can send them a text message. There's other ways to do it. So let's go back to the front screen here. And next we're going to go ahead and look at Agent P. And Agent P, on the other hand, if we go to share here, click on mail again, you'll notice that they show an image. Now, when we're in the code later, I'll show you all the different ways that you can share. You can share a screenshot, you can share an HTML link, you can share an image, you can share text. All of these ways help you to promote your game, or quite honestly, to let other people promote your game. And you want to implement that. You can pass certification without implementing this, but it's so simple to implement, I don't think you shouldn't. So this is something to put in your game and really easy, and I'll show you how to do it later. Okay, so let's go back to the front screen. And the next charm I want to show you is the settings charm. So the settings charm, let's go into Shark Dash for that. And if we go to the settings charm will allow you to show settings for your game. You can see the rate and review is there. Rate and review is actually added for you when you publish it to the store. Permissions is there, and then privacy policy is there. So privacy policy is important and is required if your app connects to the internet. And that's a really important point to stress. If your app connects to the internet at all, you have to have a privacy policy. Now, when you submit it to the store, there's not a little red dot that says it's required, because it's only required if you connect to the internet. Make sure you know that, and make sure you do that, because you don't want to have it sent back and have you have to resubmit your game just because you missed this little tiny little bit. Now, clicking on this will just bring up the privacy policy URL where you're storing your privacy policy. I'm not going to click on it. It's just going to bring up a browser and show you it. But that we'll show you how you actually implement this. So let's go back to the front screen one more time. And the next feature, which you do have to, this is another have to implement, you do have to implement in your game, is Snap. So let's look and see what Snap is. I think I already have the Shark Dash up already. And what this is Snap allows you to take a game or an app and snap it to the left or snap it to the right. And when you do that, two things should happen. One is, unless for some reason your game is playable in this little tiny screen, you should pause your game and then tell the user that they need to move it to the large screen or full screen mode to play the game. You can see Shark Dash does this with just this very simple graphic. If I move it back, it changes back to being able to play the game. Now, I'm kind of in pause mode right now anyway, but if I wasn't, it would put it in pause mode. And to show you what this allows you to do, we put it on the side here. If I say open, I don't know, sports app, you can see what Snap Mode allows you to do is look at two apps at the same time. Here you can see the sports app, which is talking about the Spurs beating Miami yesterday in basketball. So I'm able to kind of go back and forth. And again, we'll show you how to do this in GameMaker itself. So I want to show you one more, because this is the only one I've seen do this, and I actually like how they do that. So if we go to Jetpack Joyride, the way they have implemented it, and actually let me open that to full screen and take Jetpack Joyride and move it over to the left, snap mode. And what they've done is they still have their animations going, but they just have a very small icon to show what the game is, and they just have the guys walking around doing nothing. Now, they could possibly put some text in there to tell you to unpause it, but it's really up to you what you show there. You don't have to just do a static image. You can do something like this, and the way you do it is to test how wide the screen is. But it's up to you what you put in there. What we're going to show you is how to put a static image in there, and when you detect it snapped. So let's go back to the start screen one more time, and I'm going to bring up one more game. Now this is a starter kit. This is one of the starter kits I mentioned early on that you're going to be able to have on the resources page to download to see how it's done. This implements all of that as well, including the app bar. So an app bar is a nice to have depending on your game. It's not a must have, but you can also implement the app bar. And so if we bring up this game and tap to play, you'll notice a couple things. First, really cool thing is you'll notice that I can snap this side and Jetpack Joyride comes alive. So if I want to switch between games, I can do that. When I switch back here, you can see he's still fine. He's going to die right there. But that gives me a good excuse to show you the app bar. So part of the app bar is I can right click. And you can see the app bar here. I have a couple pieces. I have hello, I have chime, and I have restart. Now since this is a starter kit, just to show you some things you can do, you know, the hello and chime might not be appropriate in a real game. Definitely restart is, and I can see a pause on this menu too. And you can get to this menu either by swiping up or by right clicking if you're using a mouse. And you see if I do the restart here, it'll restart for me, and I can crouch to miss some of the stuff. I can shoot the bad guy coming at me. I can crouch again under this flaming arrow. I can grab some ammo, and you know I could keep going here forever. But I really just wanted to show you the third one, which was the app bar. And again, we'll show you how to implement this in your game. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to get that one down. I'm going to go to my desktop. And on my desktop, I have that game open already. Let's see. I have this one. And this one is the platform starter kit. So there's 3 different tutorials, there's 3 starter kits, and then there's a training tutorial as well. And all 8 of them already have the Windows 8 features implemented for you. So we're just going to kind of walk around and look at how it's implemented. So we've seen a lot of this stuff before, and we've seen objects. One of the objects you'll notice is this object Windows feature, and it doesn't actually need a sprite that represents it. I think sometimes it's nice to have to really see, especially in these starter kits, to see that it's implemented, where it's placed. And I'll show you where it is placed. You'll see right here in this splash screen, which is a room that we start this game with, that it's thrown on right here. What that means is that this will be instantiated when this room starts. Now if we look at the object itself, we notice that the object is persistent. That means it will persist beyond this room. Now we've made it visible because we wanted to show the object Windows features icon that we put. But if we look at the splash screen, you'll notice this is what shows up if you have no image with it. It shows up as a blue question mark, and we could have easily done that, but I thought this would work better, especially in explaining it in these sessions today. So let's actually go back and we'll open up the object itself and take a look. Now we talked about the 2 ways you can work with GameMaker. The first one was drag and drop, and we saw some of that. The second way was using the scripting language, the GameMaker language, GML. And I told you early on in the very first session that the Windows 8 features need to be implemented using GML. And so in here you can see that we've done this. Now, honestly, it's kind of drag and drop. The only difference is instead of dragging this type stuff over, we're going to the control tab and we're going to drag over code, and we're going to drag over execute a piece of code. So now when the create event happens, when the room starts, this is going to fire. And so if we open this and we take a look at it, these starter kits have a ton of comments to help you out. You can see a bunch of stuff in here. So the first thing I want to point out is this right here. So one of the great things, like I said before, is that you can create a game and you can use it and have it be used on many different platforms. So the first thing we're doing in here is checking to make sure that this is actually Windows 8 that it's running on, because if it's not, these features only work on Windows 8. We don't want to use them. So the next thing, next line down, what you'll see is we're enabling the app bar. So to be able to see or to be able to use the app bar, which is that right-click part I just showed you, you need to call Win8 app bar enables equal to true. Then we just can add app bar buttons to it. And so let's kind of talk through that. So we're actually using an array to hold the stuff in so we can reference it later if we need to, but you can see we're calling Win8 app bar add element. And we've put up here exactly what these things are for. So the first parameter is the type. It's a button type. The second one is what icon do you want to show on here. Now I'm going to pause here because one of the questions that I've had is, can I have custom icons for my game? And the answer is kind of a yes and a no. Yes, because in Windows 8 itself, you can have custom icons you can create. Unfortunately, right now in GameMaker, you can only access the inherent icons that come with Windows 8. And you access that by putting in the name of the icon right here. Next parameter is the label. That's what's going to show up. The next is the section. So depending on whether it's a global function or not, for example, if it just has to do, if you have something on the app bar that has to do with that screen only, it's not a global function, and it should go in selection, which will put it on the left-hand side. If it's a global function, meaning it has to do with the whole game, like the restart game, that'll go on the right, and that's global. And we'll see one of those below in just a bit. Tooltip is self-explanatory, and then a possible callback. So this would call into those script files, or at least that folder we pointed out before, and this script would run. Now it's important that if this script does not exist, you will error out. So make sure you're aware of that. If you're not calling a script, and you don't have to call a script for everything you do, you'd put a -1 there. You can see the other ones we've created. This one's to add a sound. It's going to call script play sound. Same stuff applies. This one's adding a separator. So a lot of stuff doesn't apply. The separator will just put that line. If you want to separate groups or separate icons, you can do that with a separator. You can see it's on the global side, like I just talked about, on the right-hand side. And then finally, this would restart the game. Again, it would call the script restart function to do that. So that's the app bar. Really simple. Again, you could just use this code and put it in your game, or start with one of these starter kits, either way. Next, if we move down just slightly here, is the share charm code. So the share charm, again, is to be able to share your game with other people, or again, quite honestly, let the users share your game with other people. So I'm calling Win8 share text, and you can see I'm just saying I'm playing a game on Windows 8, won't you come join me, etc., etc. Now there's different types you can share. As we talked about, you can call share image, share screenshot, share file, share URL, or as we did up here, share text. So you have a lot of options for sharing from your game. A screenshot, would be great if you just killed a bad guy you've been battling with for a while. Share URL is great if you want them to share the download link to your game. Whatever it is, you can do that here. The next part is what we talked about when we were talking about the settings charm. Now, the settings charm is something that, again, you need to implement if you are connecting to the internet at all. And to do that, we're just going to start with line 59 right here. And you can see that what we're doing is just calling Win8 settings charm, add entry, and adding the text that's going to show up in there, which is privacy policy, and then what happens when they click on it. This is going to go to freeprivacypolicy.org/generic.php. You would put your own in there, and we'll have resources and pointers on the resources page to give you pointers on how to set up a privacy policy and where you can host it and different stuff like that. You can see we've added another one just to show you there could be a second one. This one just plays a sound. This is to show you that from the privacy policy, you can call into a script and do stuff within your game as well. So it's not just a sending out to a URL, but you can do stuff internally on that as well. Finally, down below, we're going to show you how you implement snap mode. Now, in the create event, all we're doing is setting up some variables here, snap mode and screen size, which we're going to use in other events. So let's go ahead and look at those events. Now, one of the things you'll notice as I'm going through this code here is there's some extra code in here, and those are for virtual keys. You noticed on that last game that you saw some buttons on the screen. That allows you to map keys on the keyboard that someone might utilize to play a game with buttons on the screen, so that if they're using a tablet, they should still play your game. So we're not going to cover that, but that's included in the sample kit and most of the sample kits that we're playing with. So what we're going to look at next is, let's see, the draw GUI. And in here, we only care about the stuff on the bottom. This is what I just talked about. This is all the stuff that's drawing the images on the screen that you can use to work with the character. On the bottom here, though, we're checking to see if we are in snap mode. If we're in snap mode, we're just going to create a rectangle, color it, and then draw the sprite that we're using during pause mode in that rectangle. So basically what we're doing is we're testing to see what the size of the window is, and we do that in resize by first checking the width of the screen, whether it's been dragged into snap mode or not, and then if it is in snap mode, we deactivate all instances because we want to pause the game, and we set the snap mode equal to 1. Else it's not in snap mode. We're going to activate everything and set snap mode to 0. So that was everything for the for this session for the Windows 8 features. I hope that not only you got why, not just the how, I should say, to implement the Windows 8 features in code, and quite honestly, you'll be able to download this and really take it apart and implement in your own game rather easily. But the why, why should, even though I don't have to, implement share? Because it's a cool feature and it'll help you sell your game. So I hope you enjoyed the session, and we'll look for you in the next session. Bye.